Hey guys, welcome to another Complete Developer Raw, a live show with Will and BJ. How you guys doing this evening? Guess what I completely forgot to do is sitting right here in front of me to do.
Slack.
Yep. At channel. I even got the Slack set up. So you guys are seeing me Slack live slacking. I'm such a slacker.
Well, you are
If
Gen
you guys
X.
really want to see it, I can cover Will's face with it. All right. There we go. So they should know where we are and all that fun stuff. All right, guys. So it's been a week. Actually, it's been a couple of weeks for the two of us. We weren't on last week. We didn't record because Will was at a conference. He'll talk about that in just a moment, I'm guessing, with his update. I am drinking a little bit of a Beta Andy Gator. I had two episodes to put out this week, so I splurged a little bit and went and got some good stuff to drink while I was editing those. So I've got the last of it here. Let's see. I've been doing a lot of hiking lately with my dog. Uh, if you follow me on social media, especially on Instagram, I've been posting lots of pictures of us out hiking, different trails, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. He's enjoying it. It's just this really awesome time that we're having. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to this kind of. I don't really know how to describe the place. They have like food and beer and a stage, but they've got like a disc golf course and like a hiking trail. I don't know. It's this place out here in Murfreesboro called Hop Springs, but there's a Nirvana cover band that I'm gonna go see. So I'm kind of excited about that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. What's going on with you, man?
Well, last week I was in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I spoke at MicroConf in front of between 180 and 200 people. It's just a 12-minute talk on kind of how to set up a creativity pipeline for content development type stuff.
Awesome.
And that went well. It was good. Vegas, Vegas is still Vegas. Um, you know, now with the smell of an unbelievable amount of pot smoke, like the whole place.
Does
Like,
not surprise me
I
at
mean,
all.
like I got into the hotel and like one of the first things I did was go and get like a plastic bag to wrap the clothes that I was going to wear to the airport coming back out because I was like, I don't want that soaking in and to get like drug dogs sniffing at me, going through Nashville's airport coming back in. So I was like,
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think that the airports are as strict because of all the international or not internet, all the internal like other states that are allowing that. So, but I don't
yeah,
know. I
yeah.
think
I
you
just
played
wanted
it
to get
safe.
home and not be bothered. So like I did
Yeah,
that.
you probably did the
Um,
right thing.
yeah, I got to hang out with John Sonmez and Stephen Fowler. We went to Gallagher's restaurant. Um,
I've been
they
there.
have like huge steaks. I ate like this huge pile of like rack of lamb.
Hmm.
Like it's probably more lamb than I've eaten in my life. It was an unbelievable amount of food. So that was good.
Hmm.
The conference was also quite good. I had a pretty good time. Glad to be back though, man. Like more than about 2 days of Vegas is
Yeah, yeah.
not my jam.
It's
It's
it's definitely not your kind of place for sure. Next time I go to Vegas, there's one place I want to go to. I mean, I've only been twice, I think. Yeah, but I really want to go to. There was this TV show about it was basically a tattoo artist doing cover ups and stuff like that, and I just want to go there and get a tattoo from him because that's just too cool. um,
nice.
because just the guys were cool. I enjoyed that show, but no, I am a little jealous. What we've had a couple of phone calls and we've had John Sonmez on the podcast, but I have never actually gotten to meet him in person. So
Yeah, he's cool. He's fun to
yeah,
hang out with.
I gather that just from the conversations and other communications we've had. So that's really awesome, man. I'm happy that you got to do that. And you get to make those friendships. That's really cool. Uh, So podcast wise, we got some really cool talking about interviews. We got some really cool interviews coming up. We're doing one tonight. We've got a couple other ones scheduled, so that's going to be really awesome. And then we are coming up on our 200th episode. That is less than 10 episodes away, and Will and I discussed it, and he sort of pushed that off on me. So I've been working on some ideas for our 200th episode. I wanted to wait till 256 for the obvious, coding joke, but we decided.
Well, we'll do both. We're shameless.
We are kind of shameless. We're gonna do both, but no, he talked me into it. He made some really really good points, and so we're gonna do a special episode for our 200th. They'll be coming out in a little bit, so that's cool.
And the good point was it's weekly, so they're like over a year apart. I don't really remember any.
That was the good point. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what was the point? Okay.
Yeah, that was totally the good point. Yeah. So, moving on into our first question.
What do software engineers who earn $350K plus per year do differently?
Whoa, hang on.
What?
Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead and answer that question because somehow the wrong question got put in here. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know any. I will say that that's probably stuff that you get, from, consulting. You're probably in a really tight niche. You're using tools that not everybody knows that are, a little bit harder. I imagine that they're more than software engineers, honestly. And that's probably the long and the short of it. They've got some serious business skills. They've got some serious connections. Or they live in a double wide trailer in San Francisco. But it's probably the business skills.
Yeah. So, the reason I chose that, and I am sorry guys that is completely my fault for messing that up, on the having it posted on there. But, so the reason I chose that was a question I saw on Quora, and I really liked the answer on there, and I wanted to see what Will had to say about it without having seen the other answer, because it was actually very, very similar. Like, not word for word or anything, because when you type something versus when you're like just answering it off the cuff, it's a little bit different. But yeah, it was very, very similar. So I wanted to do that because I wanted to get your opinion on that what's the word I'm looking for? Not filtered, uninfluenced by the other answers. So cool. That's awesome. All right, moving on to our next question, which I do have up here. How difficult is it for the average person to become a computer programmer? Kind of depends on what you want to do. You want to get into gaming programming, that's going to be a bit of work. You're probably going to have to go back to school for that and bone up on a lot of math. You want to get into web development and stuff like that. There's a lot of options. I went one way, which was the self-taught, get a friend who knows a lot about it to mentor me and guide me through it. I work with another person who is self-taught. There's also the boot camps. A lot of people are getting into programming now who were in other careers. I personally don't think it's that difficult to do the basic stuff. To get into the field and do the basic stuff. It can get more complicated the more niche you get, or the more difficult types of things you get into. So, Will, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, having the degree.
I would say that you become a computer programmer the first time that you get a computer to obey you with code. I think that's where the line is. Now, as far as like being professional, that's a whole nother thing, right? But like, I think after that point, you're aware that you can do that. And, so like I'm looking at it as kind of a character arc transition. It's like, because that's what it was for me, right? The first time I was able to especially like with a with a GUI type environment, pop
Yeah.
up a little button. Like that was huge for me. And so it's
Yeah.
I don't know.
I totally get that because I was in high school when I first started messing around with programming and stuff, and um, until what about 4 or 5 years ago, it had always just been a hobby, and I did not think of myself as a computer programmer, but I guess by your definition, I was ever since high school because I had been playing around with it the whole time, um, building little small stuff just for fun. So that's really cool. All right, next and final question.
Why are the future job prospects for computer programmers declining? Okay, so here's the deal. Uh, just straight up programming is a blue collar skill. And it's also a blue collar skill that is very easy to export somewhere else. And that is becoming easier over time, right? Like the languages and frameworks that we have now compared to when I started. Holy cow. Um, you got to bear in mind, like, the first web stuff I messed with was with NCSA Mosaic back in the 90s.
I don't think I ever used that.
Yeah. So anyway, like it's gotten. I won't say that it's necessarily easier because like anybody doing like I don't know React Native or something like that is not easier than VB6. Um, I will say that. But it's easier to get to a level of productivity that makes a difference in a business or it makes a difference to somebody who will pay. And as a result, more people
Yeah.
do that. That pushes the price of that, that of achieving that value down.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a result, yeah, there's probably a decline in job prospects for people that are just programmers. Now, I will say this if you're a person who can program and you can do other stuff, that is absolutely not true. Like if you can do technical marketing and you can pull data from Google Analytics and make decisions on your website based off of that and those kinds of things, if you're using programming as a tool, not a profession, I would say that your job prospects are going up every year.
Um, and a friend of ours used this term. I cannot remember what it is. Maybe you can. Um, it's the idea of just someone who's told. It's almost like almost like a data entry person, but for code. They're told what to code, how to code, and stuff
Oh,
like
Code
that.
Monkey.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think jobs for that are probably declining. That's but like for people who can design and be handed a project, and I know that's one of the things when um, I got hired on my first job. That I was told the reason we picked you is because from conversation we could tell we could just hand you a project and you could go build it. You didn't need someone to say, all right, use this, use that, do this, do that. You could just go into it. And I
Yeah.
think that's where we're seeing the decline is the decline in um like I don't want to say micromanaging hand holding, but just being told, all right, here's what to do. But what what is growing is the ability to go, all right, here's what I need. Maybe here's some guidelines, or here's what our other stuff is built in, so we want to keep it in the same stack or whatnot. But here's some guidelines. Go forth and build.
Yeah. I also think the other thing too is if you have to be told everything to do,
Mm-hmm.
you're competing with the computer on your desk
Yeah, you really are.
because people will build a framework to do that so they don't have to hire you.
That's so true.
And
That is
especially
so
like
true.
pay for your insurance in the US.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. So we got a couple of people on Facebook. So we'll just start at the top here. Jason Hoover, what's up, guys? Hey, Jason. Thanks for the nice words in Slack. I saw those. That's really sweet. Josh Kilgore's on.
Volodymyr was on, I think.
Yep, he says hello.
And I hope I got that right.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I was gonna do my absolute best, man. Uh, Jamie Taylor, he does the .NET Core podcast. I listened to that a lot. Got some great ideas from him on some stuff I've been doing. Actually, Jamie, we do there's 4 API developers on my team, and we do code reviews every Friday. Well, on the 5th Friday, we do like just a training. We just started doing this. So our very first 5th Friday was this past month, and we listened to your FAQ on .NET Core as our training. So pretty awesome, man.
Nice.
It was really good stuff. Everybody liked it.
I'm really impressed that you were able to say first 5th Friday without getting tongue-tied. That was like, that's why you make the announcement about the water bottles on the podcast, is because I can never say that.
That's true. That is true. Apparently I don't get as tongue-tied. So guys, we have a really awesome episode that came out this week. I didn't announce it last week because we didn't have a live, but we brought on an IO psychologist who now does career coaching to talk to us about LinkedIn mistakes. And if you haven't listened to it, go back and check that out. It is a really awesome episode. My LinkedIn profile has improved drastically, and I think Will made some improvements to his too. It was really good. Coming up next week, we have an episode on improving your technical writing. There's a surprising amount of writing required to be a successful developer, whether you have to write technical specs, document an existing system, or even write tutorials for open source software. Your technical writing skills will not only determine the quality of your work, but may even be the deciding factor in the success of your entire team. In the episode, we discuss some things that you should be doing to improve the quality of your technical writing. It's a really great episode. I've had to do some writing since we recorded it, and actually been able to use some of the things that Will put into that episode in what I was doing. So check that out, coming out next week. A couple more comments, then we're going to hop off. Volodymyr, we said it right, I guess. Guys, in short, what's the difference between a developer and a senior one? What is the path of transformation in more older one like senior?
I guess, at one point, a senior developer, and this is probably dating me a little bit, but like when I started, a senior developer had like 15 years of experience. Like they'd been around forever. And now I think it's more like 5 or something, which is unfortunate, really, because it's like, what do you call them after 5 years? Like,
architect.
Yeah, but then okay, you get them into architect, and then what? It's like you run out of words. So that's I would say there's also a weird dichotomy there, because there are a lot of people that have 1 year of experience, 10 times over, and it's the same year, and they still get to be called seniors. I guess my definition would probably be, this is somebody that has been around for a good long while. They have they've seen the fads come and go and come back. In tech, where they can go, oh, this is just like this other thing that I was doing, 8 years ago. It's just slightly different framework and a slightly different approach, and they can compare them.
Yeah.
I would also say that you tend to become a senior developer when you have written crap code at length, and you've had to maintain that crap code. Like, once you're on the other side of that, once you feel like how that shoe fits, and where it ends up fitting, I think that's probably part of it.
Well, by that definition, I am a senior developer, because I've written some crap code that I've had to maintain.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm
just a
messing,
single page. Yeah, I guess I should have clarified. I wouldn't say it's a single page. It's more like, hey, I've built this app with these underlying assumptions, and there's some huge thing that I just did not see, and I've had to go back and fix that, right? Like, I think you arrive at a condition of some humility as far as what you can do. And that's usually after the mid-level developer swagger that, it's like, oh, I can handle anything, and then
Yeah,
you
that's
you
me. I
get
can do it
nailed.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, where I work, we don't have a distinction between mid and senior. I think they used to, but now it's just like you get junior and advanced and lead, and so the mid and senior are sort of blended in there. And so I'm the same category as one of my coworkers who's been programming longer than you have. Uh,
right.
like professionally programming longer than you've been programming for fun. You know, and we're in the same category because there's not a distinction there. Um, but he's a really great guy, and so we help each other out. But yeah, that's a great question, man. Let's see. Last couple of comments. Oh, we got quite a few here. Let's see. Jamie, oh wow, that's great. Thanks for sharing my show. Yeah, hey man, it's a really great show. So we both, well, I know I listen. I think Will does some too. Um, let's see, Josh Kilgore. I'm definitely going to need to listen to the tech writing one. So much documentation needed. Yes, man. Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Nobody ever tells you that when you get into this, do they?
No.
Like,
that's so true. You don't realize how much writing, like not coding, but just like writing is involved. Let's see. Jamie says, I was just about to make the comment about the same year of experience over and over. And he also says, I've always thought of senior developer as someone who has enough experience with different technologies, but is able to talk about the pros and cons of each, especially since there's no one way to skin a cat and such. Yeah, that's really
yeah.
good. I like that. And then
Jason Hoover asked, hey, Will, how is the book going? I am writing the last chapter of that. I'm hoping that the manuscript will be done by the middle of the day, Sunday, because I got to stop then and write the episode outline for next week, regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going on, and then I've got to start on the editing process, and then like build up all the glossary crap. Like there's some kind of weird word thing that they do, and I've got to, I don't know. I looked at it, didn't really look at it too long. I was like, oh, okay, this is Office, fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I put all those things into SharePoint, and it becomes not my problem after that. So I'm hoping by the end of the month to have the editing done. I've pushed really, really hard on this book. I think I surprised the editors a little bit because it's due April 30th. The manuscript is due. And so I'll be like, what? I don't even know how far ahead. Like if I finish that Sunday, yeah, what, 3 weeks ahead or no, almost 4 weeks. Yeah.
Wow,
More than 4 weeks. Yeah. And so that'll be, pretty good considering I have learned that I can write somewhere north of 50 pages in a week. Like there's an asymptote at 55. I just can't, like, even if I throw more time in, it doesn't get above that. I don't really care. Cause if I have to write more than 55 pages a week, I'm doing something really wrong.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, oh, and also a friend of mine from church, Heidi, has joined us. Hey, Heidi. She runs the AV booth that I just joined that team. So I'm learning all that stuff. It's really exciting. It's my happy place being behind a computer screen. So, I love it. Anyways, guys, we're gonna hop off here. We got a couple of guests coming on in about 30 minutes or so, and so we're gonna record this really awesome episode with them, and we'll get that out to you guys. We'll catch y'all next week.